Good morning. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well. I am. Feeling good this morning. Um, it's a rest day. I'm taking it as a pure rest day because my knees are sore. Not IT band related, but just like high mileage escalation sore. Progressive overload sore. So like when I just walk around, it my I can definitely feel my knees like sore. So I'm taking it easy. I just thought it'd be interesting. Here's my my stats for today. So my training. These are the stats I look at like every day. So these are the stats I'm kind of like looking at my to judge my fitness off of. I shared this before, but my base fitness 75. Um, here's what it was. Here's the progress. Here's my base fitness progress. So we started all the way May 30th at 34. No, at 38. Um, and now before I started running every day, it was around like 55. And then ever since I started running a lot more in the mornings, doing morning runs and kind of just running more miles. Now I went from 55 and I'm all the way up to 75 right now. So making some major gains. Maybe I'll start showing the stat every day just because it's kind of interesting to look at my base fitness, like how fit my watch thinks I am and my progress, and then also my intensity trend. So I look at the intensity trend because that shows like how optimally intense I'm working out. But if you go too high, then there's a chance you could hurt yourself, which is actually kind of like surprisingly accurate because yesterday I was at 144%. If you go above 150%, then it says you could risk injuring yourself, and I'm already feeling that. Like I'm already feeling because I've been kind of like at the top of the 150% for the past kind of couple harder runs. So just looking off that metric, another thing to judge myself off of, along with just how I feel. So with my knees feeling how they do, and with that intensity trend metric showing, I am putting in a lot of work. That I do feel pretty good about taking a rest day today, and maybe even tomorrow, to be honest, depending on how my knees feel, just so I can be as good as I can for my long run. Um, been having all that pain for for a little while now with IT band pain, trying different things. Nothing really seems to be working. So the next thing I'm gonna try, next form change I'm gonna try, is actually kind of pushing my hips forward a little bit more. I don't think I'm running quad dominantly because my quads aren't sore, but there is an idea that I do research all the time. One thing I recommend and one thing that I do is to constantly be doing research. Like I'm if I'm not running and I'm not doing work, I'm on my phone looking up running videos, running form technique, running all this information because information is how you learn. And you don't know what you don't know. And another important thing is to not get all your information from one place because there could be so much misinformation, so many contradicting opinions from many different health professionals. Health professionals on YouTube or on the internet. I look at like some studies sometimes. I look at YouTube. I look at forums, even Reddit. I try and consume literally as much information as possible on whatever hobby it is I'm doing. So when it was like powerlifting focus, I was doing that, and I find that really helps me figure out what is actually good information and what is not, just because I can compare everything I've looked online against everything I've looked online, um, and that helps me figure out my problems too. So I tried some of the latest form changes I've tried involve emphasizing hip rotation, um, and I think that has helped with speed, but I don't think I do it right all the time because sometimes I'll do it right, hip and shoulder rotation. I'll do it right in a way where I do actually run faster at a lower heart rate. And then sometimes when I try and do it, I just end up running faster at a higher heart rate. So I'm not exactly sure all the time what I'm doing, and so I'm gonna try and continue experimenting with that because I do want to unlock that extra speed. Um, I think when I am doing it right, I'm just purely focusing on the hip and shoulder rotation and nothing else. But I think when I try and get a little too loose with it, then I am sacrificing some energy. So I think that is what's happening. Um, anyways, that's that. But the next form, yeah, adjustment I want to try is something you hear when people talk about anterior pelvic tilt, which may or may not be good for running. Mostly, it's about having your hips not behind your feet when you strike, which makes you more quad dominant. But there's also another idea where you, if you lead with your hips, um, that might help reduce IT band pain if you're dealing with that. And that was something I actually started to experiment with, but not actually like get far with. So I want to experiment with that because I think that also might be something that could help my IT band pain. Because I don't know if I was experimenting with that before or after my IT band started acting up, but it might have been before. So I stopped doing that, and now if I start experimenting that now, I think we can learn if that form change will help prevent my IT band injury from acting up. Um, but I was also thinking like this is kind of cool how I'm vlogging on like all this marathon progress because I mean training for 5 months is a long time. Um, I'm not saying you don't have to train for a marathon for 5 months. It's just the time I decided I want to run the marathon to the marathon date was like 5 months. So that's just how long I've been training for. But it's cool seeing like myself progress through this because I mean I started running in the morning and that's a big change. This IT bend problem, which I've had for a long time, I'm like starting to try and really figure it out more and documenting all that. And I think it's pretty neat. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, I am gonna try and focus on leading with my hips a little more. I think we'll see if that helps, but I'm hoping it does. I don't know what it is with me, but I have a an eating problem. It's just I'm just not a hungry person. Um, but obviously, protein is key, if not one of the most important keys in terms of athletic performance in general. And the reason I know that is because when I was getting more into lifting and trying to bulk, um, I always had a problem where I would try, lifting, but it would never really work. I always stayed skinny. It wasn't until after college that I mean, I knew it all along that eating and protein consumption was important, but it wasn't until after college um, that I specifically like hammered it in, tried actually really hard to focus on eating, and that is when I started finally seeing gains, strength gains and size gains, muscle gains. So I clearly know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just when I am running, I don't have that same mental emphasis. Like I know in lifting you gotta eat protein and eat a lot of calories to gain. and I know that's the same for running too. You need protein for your muscles. You're doing a lot of muscular endurance activities. You need protein for your muscles, and you need to eat, obviously. It's weird because I don't have that same emphasis now running that I did with lifting. I'm not on a regime like that. Is something that was a key part of my lifting process. Eating was very important to me in the lifting process. But now that I'm running, something in my mind just switched, and it just doesn't feel as important. Or I'm not emphasizing it as much. I know it's important. I know I need to be doing it way more than I am now. But it's like I'm kind of back in my old non-lifting routine where I'm not eating on a schedule, and I'm not eating as many calories as I should be eating, and I'm definitely not eating as much protein as I should be eating, and it's just really frustrating because I know that I should, and it's not like I haven't done it before. I've done it before successfully, but for some reason in running, the mental emphasis is different to where I'm not emphasizing that. It's weird. I don't know what is it. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating because I have done it before. Like I don't know why now that I'm running, it's not as much of an emphasis, and maybe it's because I have more of a mental connection between lifting and protein as opposed to running and protein. Maybe because I've never. Maybe because I have been making running gains without emphasizing protein as hard as I did while I was lifting. That it feels less important to me, but I know it's not. So I just need to mentally turn that off in my mind. Even though I haven't been as good at protein as I'd like to be, there's no better time to start something than now. So I'm gonna make my protein smoothies and drink those. Get back on that milk grind. Yeah, I'm gonna recalculate my protein consumption throughout the day with the foods I'm eating. Figure out what I need to be eating. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be key. Once I get my nutrition back on track, it's gonna be. I know it'll be better. Just like I'm really emphasizing, I'm prioritizing my sleep. I'm prioritizing my sleep way more than I ever have before. Before even when I was lifting. So I'm on the right track. If I keep prioritizing my sleep like I am now, and I start prioritizing protein and calories like I was when I was lifting, and I'm definitely going to be peak. I'm gonna be peak performance. So yeah, I just really gotta stick back to that schedule.
Yeah,
Boom. That's epic. That's a good looking shoe. First impression of the Saucony Tempest. They feel really good. They feel light, but still stable. They feel light like my Nike Invincibles, but they feel stable like my Saucony Hurricane. So they're a nice little marriage of the two. Because this is like the predecessor to the Saucony Hurricane, but it's like built more for speed. It's like a stability shoe that also has speed, which you can work with. Because the Saucony Hurricanes, I think, were a little heavier,
and these Tempests, they have like a lighter upper, and like better foam and more foam, but also like the foam works in a way where it's like extra dense. So it still provides the support, which is really nice. And I can really feel at the toes. I can really feel like that forward rock a little bit. Or when I lean forward, it kind of has like that curve, so I kind of feel like I'm falling forward a little bit more. But they're not super shoes. They don't have a carbon plate. They just have good foam. All right, so definitely they feel the Tempest, the new shoes feel like they have significantly more of like that rocking forward. Like if I were to do a calf raise, I feel like I'm leaning forward a little more, rocking forward easier on the new shoes than the old shoes, which is nice. And the new shoes just feel lighter, so that's a nice little bonus. All right, and then my Nike Invincibles versus the Saucony Tempest. The Tempest definitely feel more stable than the Invincibles. Yeah, like it's not even comparable. If I stand on one foot on each of the shoe, the Nike Invincible definitely like just collapses inward more in like a way you would see overpronation. And I know I've used the Invincibles for over 300 miles at this point, but I have a feeling with the Tempest, the stability and the support from the foam is just gonna feel so much better. If I stand on one foot on the Invincibles, like my foot naturally kind of wants to rotate in like that. If I stand on one foot on the Tempest, it feels like so much more support. Like even if I try and rotate inwards, you see the shoe like not collapsing. But if I do it on this shoe, like there's so much more room. So that's nice, and they're both pretty equal in they're both pretty equal in what's the word? Weight. So the Nike Invincibles are a very light shoe, but the Tempests feel pretty light too. So it's interesting. All right. So those, yeah, Saucony Tempest recap. They feel just as light as the Nike Invincibles. Maybe Nike Invincibles are a little lighter. The upper on the Saucony Tempest feel really good. I like it. I really didn't like the upper on the Hurricane, my older stability shoe, just because it was a little heavier. But the Tempest feels like a light shoe with stability, which is what I'm looking for. So you may be asking, why did you buy new shoes? And here's the question. Here's the answer. Not here's the question. Here's the answer. The answer is because I wanted new shoes. That's the real answer. I have the justification. I have some justifications. My Nike Invincibles are over 300 miles already. So I was thinking at the end of this marathon training plan, at the end of the marathon, I would get new daily trainers. And I really was targeting the Tempest as a daily trainer because it is just pretty strong all around. And two, because I did want to use the Saucony Hurricanes more because of the stability, and I have been experiencing IT band pain, and regardless of the actual remedy, whether or not it is going to be shoe related, stability shoes wouldn't hurt, right? Shoes with more stability wouldn't hurt. Like, even if I do all the strengthening and correcting my running gait, just because I I am prone to the IT band problem, then I do want to do what I can to prevent it. So, more stability on my daily trainers, and honestly, I think they're a good shoe, just from what I read online. So, that's why I got them. I'm gonna run them tomorrow. I'm taking them on a run Friday morning, tomorrow morning, but I'm not gonna take them on a run. I'm debating if I should take them on a run Saturday, because there are running form changes I do want to make, right? So if I make these running form changes and wear the new shoes, it's like, all right, where was it the running form changes that helped, or was it the new shoes that made me not have IT band problems? So I'm not sure, but I'm tempted to just wear the new, because my Saucony Hurricanes are also old. So maybe the only reason my IT band is acting up now is because the shoes I've been running in are starting to get older. That could be it. That's why I am just now getting IT band problems again. I don't know. Okay, here's what we'll do. Tomorrow I'm gonna run with the form changes and Saucony Tempest, and then I won't think about anything after that. I'm just gonna focus on tomorrow. That's the most important thing. Yeah. But anyways, I'm excited for the new shoes. Hopefully they treat me well.